and welcome everyone to City Skylines. My name is Shane, and today I'm going to introduce you to a really cool game called one of the best city building games I've ever played before. Um, I've played all the SimCity games, many other ones. This by far, in terms of graphics, in terms of completeness, um, tops them all. Tops them all. That's the least I can say. But I'll let you be the judge for that. I want to start a new game, and we'll get into some of these other things as well later. But of course, just like with most games, you start off by choosing a map that you want to play. Each one offers a variety of different options. These are the maps built by Paradox out of the gate. Notice too that you have your resources. There's 4 resources in this game. You have oil, you have ore, you have farming resources, and you have forestry resources, those 4. And this shows you how much of each are in each of these maps. We do have a connection with water. That's critical. Got to have that. And all of our 4 outside connections are met as well, and that's good. Highway, train, ship, and plane. So these are the 4 critical outside connections you need for your industry. So I'm just going to select Foggy Hills, and we'll start with that one. And now the game is loading. And the first thing we see is our hello message telling us that we can start by building some roads and zoning the areas next to them. So I'm using my mouse and keyboard together. This is our basic first block of the city. Noticed that we got a white dotted line. Those are our current boundaries. We cannot build outside of those boundaries as of right now. And you're saying, Shane, but why do they show us all this other areas? Well, be patient, my son, for in time we too will get to play those areas. As we progress in the game and our population builds, these other squares do become available for purchase, and we'll be able to purchase those as needed. So here's our highway systems. These connect us to the outside world. As you can see, we have two roads coming into our grid. One is inbound, one is outbound. These are one-way streets. How do I know that? Because these little things are flashing here. That tells me that I'm at a dead end. And if a car came down this road right now, it could not turn around because it's a one-way street. So that's why we get these little warning signs that flicker. So it's asking us to build a road. How do we do that? Well, notice your toolbar down here. You have your roads, you have your zoning. These are the first 2 things that we'll use. We also have electricity, and we have water and sewage. We'll have to build those out as well as we start our city. Now notice too that over here on the left is my actual clock running. It shows me the date, and we can also speed up time. There's 3 different settings, and you can see the water here. As I slow this back down to normal speed, you can see our river over here flowing, but if I increase up the speed, you can see that it does move quite a bit faster, and also you can see the cars up here on this highway moving along. So typically what I do is I like to hit the space bar and pause the game when I'm first starting out, because time is precious and I don't want it to escape me. So yeah, here's our starting point. We basically need to connect some roads up to the highway so that we can start getting some traffic coming in, and also convince some people to move into our lovely new city. All right. Well, again, let's look at our road types. By the way, I'm using a small mod that makes some of these roads available immediately. If you're playing an unmodded version of the game, you may have to lay down this type of road first before these other ones open up. But I've added a mod that allows me to use these right out of the gate. So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to notice we have various sizes of roads. We got small, medium, large, highway, and we also have intersections. And these are kind of pre-made. I call almost like a stamp. You can just lay it down and it's immediately there. Notice the cost is $3,200, so it's not cheap. You want to make sure you can afford this before you do it, but it does save you some time. Otherwise, you'd have to build this manually. But for now, I'm just going to lay down a one-way road. So I'm going to go back to my small road. I'm going to select one way because this is my interstate. This is my highway currently. So we don't really want to disrupt the flow of traffic. And again, traffic is vital as your city starts growing. Notice as I drag out my road, you have these cool little snaps. And by the way, the snap is controlled by this toggle here. We still get our grids. I shouldn't say grids. I should say our measurement. I call it the measurement stick. It just shows you where certain key parts are. Now I'll explain this here in a minute, but when I'm first starting out, I like to keep the snap on. Notice how it pops into place at 90 degrees, things of that nature. So, and also it kind of pops on these large blue lines here, and this will make sense here in a little bit. But I'm going to come out about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to move up 4. I'm just going to go up 4, 1 again with one-way tool. 2, 3, 4. Now you may understand. You may not understand what I'm doing right now, but I'll explain this in a little bit. And I want to come down here, and I want to come to here, and I want to come back up to here. So now we have a one-way street, and we have a big old loop coming around. And at this point, I want to switch. Now I'll explain this theory here in a little while. But right now, it's the only thing that we can do that will bring people into our city is add a residential area. And that's what this demand here, this is our demand tool. This shows us residential, commercial, as well as industry. These three graphs here show us what is currently in need. And we have a very large green, which means residential. Now, this next tool is the zoning tool. If you hover above it, this will show us this is our low density residential zone. We have low density commercial. We have industrial zone. And we also have a D-zone tool, which allows us to change the zone back to basically nothing. And that's what you see these grids for here. These grids are designed for zoning. And earlier I had showed you on the road tool that when you start a new road, you get these little grid marks that appear every so often. If you stick to those grid marks, it allows you to create a perfect grid of zoning squares. And that's what you see here. There's 8 grids across. It's because each full tick mark equals 8 small tick marks. Does that make sense? So one of those large ticks equals 8 small squares. And as long as you stick to those large tick marks, as you draw roads, everything you'll be able to maximize, I should say, your zoning opportunities. So we're going to leave that the way it is. I want to switch now to a 2-lane road, and I want to draw this down, and I'm going to draw this down about 4 as well. And this is going to be our main artery for our residential houses. So I want to first, this is where I'm going to start here. I'm going to come out here as far as I can. Perfect. And now I want to lay in my residential area. And I'm going to bring it all the way up to that. Again, I am maximizing my grids, my residential space. I really love these features that Paradox gives us on building grids. Really cool. I think I'll shy away from that main highway. Those tend to get very noisy. Yeah, I'm gonna back it up a little bit to there. These, when you get residential right up next to highways, they tend to get very upset. They don't like the noise, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. So I've kind of stretched myself out thin here. This is quite a bit of a residential area. I spent a lot of money off so far on roads. And by the way, I mean, I guess it's the best time to talk about it. This is your budget here. This is your bank balance. And once you turn the simulator back on, because currently we're paused, you're going to see this red number here. This is your weekly income. It's going to drop to a negative very quickly because all these roads cost money to maintain, not only to build, which comes out of our balance, but they also cost money to maintain. And as each month passes, the cost for those roads comes out of your weekly income. But to offset that, you want to move people into your town so they can pay taxes and hopefully give you a surplus of weekly income. This number here is obviously your population. This is your global happiness meter. It will sometimes be hopefully green most of the time, but sometimes it will be red depending on what's going on. So you will constantly want to keep an eye on that as well. But our main number and the way all these other tools get unlocked is based on population. And that's the main number we'll focus on as we move forward. Okay, so we've got our residential grid laid out. I don't know if this is the best grid in the world, but it will get us started. Now, let's talk about something here. And I just realized I haven't completed my outbound. Everything's coming into the city through our inbound highway connection, but we have nothing going out. So that's a problem. We got to be able to get our residents out of the city if they wish to leave, but mainly industry also needs a way out of the highway or a way out of the city as well. So we'll focus on that and eventually, but for right now, we just need to get some people to move into our city. And to do that, now I'm going to zone some residential. Now, when I click on the residential button, my little side toolbar over here changes. It changes to a fill, which allows me to fill in a complete area. Notice as I hover, it shows me what I can fill. I can fill that whole area if I wanted to, right there with one click of a button. That's cool. Another feature is what they call the marquee feature. It allows you to select individual cells and highlight them as need be, like so. Again, the fill, let me show you the fill, how it works. I'm just going to fill that section in there. That's how that would work. You also have paintbrushes. You have a small paintbrush that allows you to really get some fine detail, and a little bit larger brush as well. Allows you to have a bigger brush. So you'll find you'll use every one of these tools over time. Each one is different, offers a different purpose. Right clicking and dragging decentralizes the zone. Took me a while to figure that one out. But yeah, right clicking or left clicking paints and right clicking and dragging erases. So that's pretty handy. And that works with any zone, not just residential, any zone you're trying to paint. So let's start off. I don't want to zone everything at this point in time. I just really want to focus on the areas around my road. So what I want to do here is I'm going to grab these first four and we'll go all the way across. And I think at this point in time, guys, I'm going to end this video. Kind of getting up against my 15-minute mark. That's what I like to try to keep things limited to. And we'll pick right back up on this city when we move to video number 2. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.